Works with in-depth interviews, our ultimate top 10 list, and so much more. Join us for Freedom Works, the Paul Malloy Show, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10 to 11 a.m. here on the TAN Talk Radio Network.
This is Paul Porter, the arena voice of the Tampa Bay Lightning, Orlando Magic, and the press box voice of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with some exciting news. My radio program can now be heard on the TAN Talk Radio Network every Saturday morning from 9 to 11. We take your phone calls, give you the latest news on all of our home teams, and have contest and prize giveaways. Join Jason Alessi and me every Saturday from 9 to 11 a.m. for the home team on FM 106.1 and AM 1340. Also on Facebook Live, the home team with Paul Porter.
This is the TAN Talk Radio Network.
It's time for the Kelly Show. Kelly is an award-winning photographer and the owner of the website iloveclearwater.com. Doug is the author of 4 published books and a contributing editor for Florida Sportsman magazine. And now, here they are.
Yes, here we are. And, I've got to talk about the Super Bowl briefly. 49ers probably had the best team, but they lost to the Chiefs in overtime. And can you believe some of the interviews? Ed is talking to Ed Davis.
Wait a minute.
What?
You just showed Taylor Swift again.
Oh, yeah, right. 500 times a minute. You know, some of the players on the 49ers didn't know what the
overtime rules?
What the overtime rules were.
Yeah. We're not playing for a tie, boys, I can tell you that.
Good Lord. They kick a field goal.
I mean, what else is there?
Yeah. And then stand by on a 4th down. They kicked the field goal, and then the Chiefs naturally went down and scored and got the win with the 7 points. 6 points, I guess. Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
I was happy for the bars and the workers, the hospitality workers, because all that COVID stuff, all the time of work and money they lost, they got to stay open a little bit longer and make a few more extra bucks.
Well, that's really big-hearted of you. Yeah. Very, very big-hearted of you. But anyway, it was kind of strange. But I guess the big thing for the Bucs fans is really Baker Mayfield and making sure we sign him for some outrageous sum of money, something like what we make here at the radio station, $40 million a year. What do you think?
He's not gonna get that big stuff.
Oh yeah.
Pretty similar. There's no way he's going to be in line for day-old bread anytime soon.
Oh, no.
I mean, 30, 40 million a year, somewhere around there.
Yeah, he'll get like a 3-year or a 4-year contract for some outrageous $100 million.
There's a guy that went out on a big chance. You remember, you pay $4 million for the years and a big chance, but he could have gotten hurt.
Yeah.
Or he could have fell on his face.
That's true.
And his career would have been over.
I know. C'est la vie. At any rate, there's also a big tournament coming up next month at the Valspar Championship up at Innisbrook, the Copperhead course. So there's tickets on sale now for that. If you want to see the big PGA players, minus the live players, if you know what that is. It's a different group of people who went for the big money, and they're playing their own tour. But that won't be, I don't know, the live players, can they play now with the PGA players on the tour? I know they can in the major tournaments.
I'm not
you don't know.
100% sure on that one.
All right, I'll let you go then.
Okay. Today's show is in keeping with our format of 2 interview segments. And the first will be a candidate running for the Clearwater City Council. And in the second is Clearwater Police Chief Eric Gandy.
Yay. And it is a political year with the Florida primary and various municipal elections on March 19th. That's only about 5 weeks from now. It's really creeping up on us. We'll have countywide elections in August and the general election for federal offices, including the presidency of the United States in November.
We're coming at you live with the show airing on 2 stations and 2 AM and 2 FM signals, blanketing Tampa Bay. We're also live on Facebook, and we're podcast at internetradiopros.com.
That's right. And right now we're being produced in the diamond encrusted studio of WTAN here in Clearwater. And again, we're joined today by Big Ed Davis overseeing the control room. And we're going to have a little bit of fun today. What do you think, Kel?
Yeah, we always have fun, don't
There
we?
you
Doug?
go. All right. So
We'll be back right after this short break, but first, see if you know the answer to this. True or false? Everyone is born colorblind. The answer right after this.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
In 1955, the law firm now known as Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes made a decision. Instead of taking whatever cases came through their doors, they decided to focus specifically on personal injury. 64 years later, the law firm is one of Clearwater's longest-running personal injury firms. Available 24 hours a day with offices in Clearwater and throughout Tampa Bay, they're ready to put decades of experience to work for you if you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or injured due to someone's negligence or recklessness. If you feel overwhelmed, uncertain, or unsure about your next steps after being involved in an accident or after a loved one sustained serious injuries due to someone else's negligence, call Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes at 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. That's 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. Non-attorney spokesman.
Shop the largest selection of Guy Harvey apparel, artwork, and gift items at GuyHarvey.com. From the world-renowned marine wildlife artist, the Guy Harvey online shop features the latest in performance apparel, classic Guy Harvey t-shirts, decor for every room in your home, exquisite ocean-inspired jewelry, and unique gift items, including custom merchandise not available anyplace else. Browse an extensive catalog of original Guy Harvey works of art and a full range of beautiful reproductions. As with all Guy Harvey merchandise, a percentage of sales benefits the ocean conservation, research, and education work of the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation. The Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation will help ensure that future generations can enjoy and benefit from a well-balanced ocean ecosystem. Bring the undersea world into your everyday life at GuyHarvey.com.
Do you know what a truly special blog is? It's a website that's rated as one of the best in Florida, chock full of fantastic articles, humor, videos, and hundreds of cool pictures. So what blog is creating all that buzz? It's ColorfulClearwater.com, a blog on the internet created by Kelly Kelly. ColorfulClearwater.com is gaining in popularity every day due to its original writing and original videos and photography. It's updated several times per week with fresh content and includes everything about the color, culture, and vibrancy of Clearwater's citizens and businesses. Even though it covers just one city in Florida, ColorfulClearwater.com nonetheless is already outperforming blogs promoting tourist destinations and major sports teams. Hey, see for yourself. Give a visit to ColorfulClearwater.com and make it your source of enlightening insights and entertainment. That's ColorfulClearwater.com.
You run your business with a laser-like focus on success. Challenges come at you from every angle, but you stay the course. Your calendar is full and your time is limited. So how do you deal with governmental issues that can impact your business? Turn to Amplify Clearwater, your Chamber of Commerce for Clearwater and Clearwater Beach. Amplify Clearwater monitors legislation on the city, county, and state levels to identify issues that will impact businesses in the region. Then they become your voice to our elected representatives. They listen, watch, then take action to either support positive legislation or table bills that would negatively affect our business community. But they need your support to continue this vital work. Why not join the Chamber today? Visit AmplifyClearwater.com for all the details and to submit a membership application. Amplify Clearwater. One community, one chamber, one vision.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hey, well, thanks for sticking with us here on the Kelly Kelly Show. We appreciate it. I'm Doug Kelly. I'm here with my better 7/8, Kelly Kelly, and also Big Ed Davis in the control room. And before the break, Kelly asked a true or false question. Is it true or false everyone is born colorblind? The answer, according to the trivia book, is yes.
Wow.
And I don't know how you test that. I guess you can with a newborn and see if it sees colors, but it can't answer you. I don't know.
No,
It's
that's a good point.
kind of interesting.
Yeah, you're colorblind.
I am colorblind,
Yeah.
actually. It kept me out of the Air Force. So
Okay.
why don't we introduce our first guest?
Our first guest is Mike Menino. He's running for Clearwater City Council,
Seat 3.
seat 3. I have that written down.
Okay.
And let's
Let's
dive right in. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you for having me. Very
Yeah.
excited.
Very, very good.
This diamond encrusted studio is
Yes.
beautiful.
Yeah, emeralds. Here and there, some emeralds
Yeah.
if you look closely as well. And rubies
Yeah,
and sapphires. Let's go with it.
absolutely.
You were born and raised where?
Right here in Clearwater.
Right in Clearwater.
Right down the street at Morton Plant Hospital.
And so you're a native.
Yep, that makes me a native. 46 years ago.
And he's wearing a grass skirt. He's got a
Absolutely.
spear.
I popped out colorblind.
Indeed, you did. So that's pretty good. So tell us a little bit about your educational background. You've got an advanced degree.
Yeah, absolutely. Graduated from Stetson University.
Mhm.
I was on a full ride scholarship playing soccer there.
Awesome.
Eventually decided I wanted to complete my master's degree and went and completed a master's degree in public administration and concentrated in organizational leadership. I've always been fond and a student of leadership and leaders. So I went that route, and it does absolutely nothing for my business but collect debt, surprisingly. But it does make me a better councilman for my city and a better servant, more educated, more aware, able to build consensus. It just makes me better servant.
Very, very nice. Well,
See,
I know
I just learned something about him, though. I never knew that you went on a full scholarship
Yes,
to college. So that's
Stetson in DeLand.
correct. The
Yeah.
business school.
Very, very nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's super.
How about your family?
Family, most of them are local. Brother and sister-in-law are teachers here locally. I have about 8 family members that live within a 2-mile radius of us. So holidays are all big, and Thanksgiving is great, and Christmas
Nice.
is enjoyable. And when we need a break, we jump on a cruise ship and
Oh,
skip a holiday if we need to.
Very nice.
We love having our family around.
And you're married.
Yes, I am. Suzanne's watching live. Hey, sweetheart. Married, Suzanne, my sweetheart, my better half, 7/8 of me.
there
like-
you go.
Like you said.
Yes.
And then we have one daughter, Jessica, who's 27 years old, and she lives locally as well.
That's wonderful. That's
Perfect.
wonderful. So, tell us about your business background. Then we're going to get into the fact that you're running for office. But what do you do to pay the bills?
Absolutely. Out of college, I was drafted, played 2 years of professional soccer, retired early, started a sports consulting company, kind of realized that I needed to make some money and pay the bills. And at that time, that wasn't the route to go.
Sure.
I got fully licensed in all my financial advising and insurance license. Worked for Northwestern Mutual for a while.
Mhm.
Wore a suit and tie like this every day, and said, "This isn't fulfilling to me." So I jumped in, got all my certifications to teach high school, and all of a sudden, God turned me down a path and ran me into sweet Suzanne, and she said, "I run a business sports management company. I could use you to run our business together." So that's kind of what we've done. So the past 12 years, we put on anything in swim, bike, run, from half marathons, triathlons, duathlons, 5Ks, 10Ks. And we had 26 special events on the calendar last year.
So you're a promoter, pretty much.
That's right.
Excellent.
We execute it from top to bottom, but promoting obviously is a very important aspect.
Awesome. That is really,
Yeah.
really good. And for those who don't know about Clearwater's politics, or at least the government format, it's a city council manager, not a strong mayor, but a council manager format. And there's 5 council seats. You got the mayor and then 4 council member seats. And so they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're running for seat number
Seat number 3.
3. And what made you decide to run?
Yeah, it's just a faith-filled call to service. I've been a servant my whole life. My whole family's big on serving others, and I find my self-fulfillment by taking care of those around me. And that's what makes me happy. And so service in our community and leadership, I saw a need and prayed on it. And the wife and I decided that was a path in 2020. And so we dove in head first, because that's the only way we know how to do things.
That's what you got to do. So you're obviously embroiled in a campaign, which is going to culminate on March 19th. And before that, I think during this next week, we have the mail ballots for people who sign up to get a mail ballot sent to them. And I think pretty much in the next 2 weeks, the election will pretty much be decided by the mail votes.
Yeah, absolutely. In Clearwater, a lot of people do
Yep.
the vote by mail, so it might be said and done within the next 2 weeks.
could
but
be.
Nobody will know until
Nobody
the 19th.
will know. And the thing is, it used to be that when the polls close at 7 o'clock, of course, you can still vote on election day.
Mhm.
And they have before that some pre-voting times where you can come in and vote. But it used to be it'd be an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours before you'd know the outcome. Now you know it in 15 minutes.
I think it was
Bam.
12 minutes, and we were like, boom,
Yep.
the data dump, and then it was over.
That's right. So you're going to be celebrating, you think?
We'll celebrate either way. It's God's plan. I'm good with what he decides.
There
And
you go.
God keeps opening doors for us to service. And whether he closes this one or opens it, we'll keep walking his direction and serving our community in one form or another.
Well, that's good. It's a good positive attitude. What is campaigning like? Tell us about it.
36 days left, but nobody's counting. But Suzanne and I truly enjoy the process. We love people. We love communicating with them and connecting and building trust and rapport. It is tiring. The calendar does get busy, but we find ourselves, we want to be busy. We don't deal well with boredom.
Mm-hmm.
Not that we get in trouble or anything, but
Understood.
we want to be busy. So we are completely busy, and there's always something running a campaign for sure.
What do you see as the most pressing needs or concerns about Clearwater?
Yeah, I think, we can talk about critical infrastructure and we can talk about housing and all that, but I think the most critical and immediate need is we need to make sure we have stability and leadership in our city, and not just for this year, next year, but for the next decade and beyond, for this generation and the generation to follow. And we've had some turnover after the loss of our city manager, and then some things transpire with our mayor seat. And, now at this election, there's a mayor seat and 2 council seats open again. So I think the most immediate pressing need for our city of Clearwater is to elect stability and leadership, and people that can not just lead for the short term, but will be there for the long term to make Clearwater brighter and more beautiful.
Very good. And one of the big issues in town, too, is pretty much the growth. I guess balancing green space and environmental with the need to have some sort of industrial base. So we just don't depend entirely on tourism. So do you see that having some light industry type jobs and things coming to us?
Yeah, it's a must for us.
Yeah.
We're as a city, we have to balance and be great at both livability and our quality of life, and the balance of being a destination city. And we rely so much on our ad valorem taxes and our tourism industry. Any downtick in the economy, any oil spill like 2010, any
Sheesh.
COVID that hits us,
Yes.
we're in trouble in our city and our region. So it's vitally important that we find other revenue streams, and industry is definitely one. But we truly cannot, and I keep stressing this on the campaign, we cannot put a divide in between economic development in our neighborhoods. They truly go hand in hand and have to be symbiotic, working together.
No doubt about it.
Very good.
Yep. As far as other issues, we have traffic getting more and more people like Clearwater. They come in, they move here. So we've got traffic issues. We also have flood issues, safety and security. And those are all needs that our city government oversees. So we have to have a reserve, do we not, in case there is a catastrophe, such as a hurricane or
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, when you look at, Clearwater Beach, North Beach, I spent a lot of time with those communities, and what they're calling a blue sky rain is flooding neighborhoods down there. And that's where these funds, if it's not part of our plan right now, it absolutely has to be, because it's a big expenditure, and they're saying could be $75 to $100 million. And that's something that probably hasn't been planned for in years past, that they're restructuring now. So it's vitally important.
That's great. Now, you've also been getting around to meet the department heads, have you not, in the city?
Absolutely. I think that's vitally important. And I think Jennifer and Dan Slaughter do an amazing job at putting leaders in. And one of the biggest things that I take away from some of these meetings is not just their knowledge, but we've kind of shifted as a city from departments where it used to just be very centralized in their individual departments. Now, when I talk to these leaders in our departments, they talk about team and they talk about we. And I felt that cultural shift the last handful of years, and I think that's needed and vitally important.
That's
and
very encouraging.
And it's refreshing in our city, and it gives me optimism that we are heading in the right direction.
Now, we can only get that from the public. That'd be great.
Yeah, that's true too.
In due time.
In due time, all things happen. You're referring, when you said Jennifer, to Jennifer Poirier.
Correct.
She's the city manager. Dan Slaughter is an assistant manager.
Yep.
The other one is Michael Delk. And then you have a whole litany of different department heads.
Absolutely.
And collectively, I think there's like 1,800 employees, which is huge.
Yeah.
And I think the budget's what, 600 million?
$730 million.
730. Wow.
After we just set a raise of $6.1 million for our employees, which was much needed. I mean, you have to
keep people.
You have to attract people, and
Yeah.
you got to retain them.
Yeah.
And that was needed, and I supported that. But now we're $730 million budget.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
big time. A lot of people who, especially yourself, you were born and raised here, things are not the same as it was 20 years ago,
Absolutely.
and especially even longer. So what do you like to do when you're not campaigning? What kind of things do you enjoy?
Suzanne and I love the Florida weather. We love the beaches. We love the water. We love getting out on the boat. Anytime we can escape for a weekend, we go down south to the Keys with our family and just relax under the tiki hut or swim in the pool and get sun. And it's been about 8 months. We've been a little bit busy since we've visited the family down there, but hopefully after March 19th, we'll sneak away for a couple days and
Awesome.
refill our soul.
Have you been there during Fantasy Fest in October?
We avoid that. But yes, I have. We avoid
It is incredible.
the Disney weekends of, lobster season and mini season. And
Yeah.
we kind of avoid those. And as soon as the crowd leaves or that week before is when we tend to go.
Very smart.
Yes.
Very, very smart. I lived down there, and one point it was great. You could get out on US 1 and turn left or right at will. Now you sometimes can't go north.
Nope.
Because of all the people going south or north. You have to turn right to go down and turn left. It's really, really loaded. But you're right. You don't want to go down there during peak seasons because the restaurants are full, everything else. But, we don't take a back seat to tourism too much here. Clearwater Beach is phenomenal.
Absolutely.
And we have more than just the beach. We have all the other things, Ruth Eckerd Hall. We have the aquarium, museums, etc. So there's
Beautiful
a lot to
park
offer.
systems, 110 parks. I know you visited every single one of them.
That's
I appreciate that. And
Yeah.
We have more libraries in our city of Clearwater per capita than Tampa does.
And that's something.
Our world-renowned beaches, nationally recognized arts and entertainment venues. The Phillies are a huge part of our community
Yeah,
since
good point.
1978. And
Yes.
it's important we fight to keep them in our backyard.
And that's just starting back up, the spring practice here. And matter of fact, I saw a piece last night or even today, where the buses were coming in from Philadelphia with all of their equipment,
Yeah.
like 5-6 different huge trailers or trucks coming in, RVs with all of their stuff. So they're going to be setting up, and spring games are going to be starting, and that's a fun time here.
Yeah, well, absolutely. It's great for our economy. It's great for our kids. We're our baseball fans, and when those pitchers first show up and those big trucks roll in, that's the beginning of the fun time of spring for baseball.
Tell us about soccer. You said you played professionally, but you also are involved locally in it. Tell us about that.
I've been a member of the Clearwater Chargers soccer organization since I was 10 years old. So over 35 years, I went in as a player and eventually a coach, a senior trainer, a youth mentor, and now I'm a consultant and help out the board. And they'll probably bury me on those fields eventually, and I'm good with that.
That's cool.
That's my give back. My being out there with the kids is amazing opportunity to me, and that's where I found my father figures through sports. So any opportunity I get to give anything back to the kids is just so meaningful.
That's got to be very satisfying.
Yeah.
To see young people come up and you help them realize their potential.
Yeah, I've been doing it so long now. Suzanne and I are eating dinner, and somebody will come over with a beer in hand and tell me, Coach, and I'm like, whoa, you were 12. Now you have a full beard. What happened?
Yeah, it's amazing.
But it is,
funny.
life moves so fast. But no, Suzanne was a cross-country coach at Palm Harbor High School for 15 years.
Oh,
and
my.
I've been a soccer coach and youth mentor for so long. So we have so many kids and families in this community. We can't hide too much. That's why we run south when we can.
I hear you. Tell us the contact info for your campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for asking. Website is electmenino.com. So that's electmenino.com. Email, keep it simple for you, electmenino@gmail.com. Mannino.com.
And that's Mannino.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Mannino. I'll be on your ballot as Mike Mannino on March 19th, seat number 3, City of Clearwater Council.
Fantastic. Well, good for you. We wish you nothing but success, and you've got some opposition, which is always healthy in a campaign.
Absolutely. We welcome it. Makes us work harder, makes me a little sharper on the issues, and at the end of the day, it's better for our citizens, and that's why we're running.
Fantastic. All right, Mike Mannino, seat 3, Clearwater City Council. Good luck, and we'll catch you down the trail.
Thank you so much, and congratulations to both of you, the new book that's out, and your amazing, beautiful website. So
thank you.
Keep working hard, and thank you for being a voice for our great city.
Awesome. Well, we'll be back in a few moments, but first see if you can correctly answer this trivia question. Which can hop faster, a frog or a toad? The answer right after this.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
In 1955, the law firm now known as Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes made a decision. Instead of taking whatever cases came through their doors, they decided to focus specifically on personal injury. 64 years later, the law firm is one of Clearwater's longest-running personal injury firms. Available 24 hours a day with offices in Clearwater and throughout Tampa Bay, they're ready to put decades of experience to work for you if you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or injured due to someone's negligence or recklessness. If you feel overwhelmed, uncertain, or unsure about your next steps after being involved in an accident or after a loved one sustained serious injuries due to someone else's negligence, call Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes at 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. That's 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. Non-attorney spokesman.
Shop the largest selection of Guy Harvey apparel, artwork, and gift items at GuyHarvey.com. From the world-renowned marine wildlife artist, the Guy Harvey online shop features the latest in performance apparel, classic Guy Harvey t-shirts, decor for every room in your home, exquisite ocean-inspired jewelry, and unique gift items, including custom merchandise not available anyplace else. Browse an extensive catalog of original Guy Harvey works of art and a full range of beautiful reproductions. As with all Guy Harvey merchandise, a percentage of sales benefits the ocean conservation, research, and education work of the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation. The Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation will help ensure that future generations can enjoy and benefit from a well-balanced ocean ecosystem. Bring the undersea world into your everyday life at GuyHarvey.com.
Do you know what a truly special blog is? It's a website that's rated as one of the best in Florida, chock full of fantastic articles, humor, videos, and hundreds of cool pictures. So what blog is creating all that buzz? It's ColorfulClearwater.com, a blog on the internet created by Kelly. ColorfulClearwater.com is gaining in popularity every day due to its original writing and original videos and photography. It's updated several times per week with fresh content and includes everything about the color, culture, and vibrancy of Clearwater's citizens and businesses. Even though it covers just one city in Florida, ColorfulClearwater.com nonetheless is already outperforming blogs promoting tourist destinations and major sports teams. Hey, see for yourself. Give a visit to ColorfulClearwater.com and make it your source of enlightening insights and entertainment. That's ColorfulClearwater.com.
Ask any successful entrepreneur. They'll tell you that the fundamental way to grow a business is through strategic connections. Relationships drive business. Forming a solid network of reliable contacts is essential to your growth. And there's no better way to get connected in Clearwater than through membership in Amplify Clearwater, your Chamber of Commerce for Clearwater and Clearwater Beach. Amplify Clearwater is your first level of support. Membership affords you the opportunity to meet like-minded business owners you otherwise wouldn't have met. You'll be able to collaborate, network, support, bond, and do business with each other. Interested? Then visit amplifyclearwater.com. There you'll find all the information you need to make an informed decision and start the membership application process. Amplify Clearwater. One community, one chamber, one vision. Join today at amplifyclearwater.com.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
You are listening to the Kelly Kelly Show.
Whether you like
Just
it or
in
not.
case you didn't know.
That's right.
Yes. I'm Kelly Kelly. I'm here with my better half, Doug Kelly. I can't copy you and say 7/8. So I've just got to go with the 1/2.
Okay, I'll go for that.
Okay. Before the break, Doug asked, which can hop faster, a frog or a toad? And I don't know. Did you guess correctly when you wrote
Well, I wrote it down and I looked up the trivia question. I know the answer.
Okay. Well, it's a frog.
Of course it is.
Yes.
I think that's pretty simple to discern.
I would say so.
Yeah, we got.
You know, that's why they have that Looney Tunes frog kicking up its heels.
I hear you. Well, we have a gentleman on here as our guest, Clearwater Police Chief Eric Gandy. And if there's anybody ever suited and experienced to take over a significant chief position, it's Eric. He's got pretty much did everything. You've been, Eric, first of all, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Great. And you've done everything in terms of being in charge of the canine unit to detectives to pretty much all the different steps, have you not?
Yeah.
30 years?
Yeah. So I 30 and a half years. And, you know, I had a lot of opportunity and the department and the city were very good to me. And, you know, I pursued the things that I enjoyed and I wanted to do. And it worked out really well for me because I got to do, you know, those assignments. And I think, you know, you mentioned canine, obviously. When I got into law enforcement, it was all about keeping people safe and catching bad guys. And so I pursued those assignments that took me in that direction, canine, narcotics, ran the SWAT team for a period of time.
Wow.
And it's just because that's who I am and that's what I enjoy doing and that's what I got into the business to do. Unbeknownst to me, those were all high liability assignments that really prepare you to deal with the challenges of this role.
Yeah. No, you've got to be there and done that to really have the experience to know how to handle so many different types of situations involving assault, obviously, battery, sexual crimes, drugs, prostitution, the whole gamut of potential crimes. It's fantastic.
I'm going to back up here.
Okay.
Where were you born and raised?
Well, funny story. My dad was in the military, and I was actually born in San Francisco at the Presidio. So he was stationed out there. I was born there. We traveled quite a bit while he served. He was in Ohio, Corpus Christi, and then came back to Tampa, actually. But my family's from St. Pete.
So you're in MacDill at some point?
No, not in MacDill. So we lived in South Tampa. My grandmother lived on Davis Island since 1940 something.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
That's roots.
One of
That's
the
roots.
originals, probably, huh? Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Okay. How about your education?
So I went to Plant High School over in Tampa and ended up going to Florida State for a couple years and then graduating from USF.
I like you anyway.
Yeah, I know.
I like you anyway. But no, Florida State's a great school. All of them are. All the universities in Florida are great, especially University of Miami. But I'm not prejudiced. I'm not at all biased there.
No. I see you have a degree from the College of Social and Behavioral Sciences.
Yeah, correct.
Well, that is a great background.
Yeah, it's interesting because at the time, they called it criminology, but you got to take abnormal psych classes and a variety of psychology classes. And then prior to that, when I was at Florida State, I had some bright idea that, I took some business classes and then transferred into like biology and some of those type of courses. So I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then, once I really settled on law enforcement, I started to pursue that track. And that was when I transferred to USF and finished out there.
Was there some kind of instance that caused you to choose law enforcement?
Yeah, I've spoken about this before. I was a product of divorced parents, and my mom worked really hard to support my brother and I. And I was probably 12, 13 years old, and there were multiple occasions. We didn't live in the greatest neighborhood that, our house got burglarized time and time again. I would see my mom devastated over the prospect of our house having been broken into and things like that. So that probably, was the seed of, I want to catch bad guys and I want to protect people.
Sure.
I didn't know it at the time, obviously, but I think that probably had a role.
Well, that would, I think, affect anybody.
Yeah.
That kind of a situation. Also, you did, for a stint there, became the director of the Clearwater Marine and Aviation back in March 2022. But then when Chief Slaughter retired, you came back to the force.
Yeah.
And what was that like at the Marine and Aviation Department? That's kind of something close to your heart.
Yeah, so it's kind of a funny story. My dad was a pretty prominent photographer in the Bay Area, and part of that business was aerial photography. So when I was in high school, I learned to fly with him. As a matter of fact, the plane that I learned to fly in is hanging in Tampa Police Department's headquarters.
Ah.
That plane was Tampa Flying Service had it out at Peter Knight Airport, and my dad was involved in that operation. And it was a Piper Colt, but it went from TPD to a local traffic reporter named Al Ford, and then ultimately to Tampa Flying Service, where I learned to fly it. But
oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you're a pilot.
Yeah. So I was a pilot, and I had a single and multi-engine rating, and spent a lot of hours doing local VFR stuff and taking pictures of stuff. I'd fly my dad, he'd take the pictures, and it was kind of a cool deal for me.
Yeah. Must be.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're asked this over and over again, so I've got to ask it anyway. Any connection with you and Gandy Bridge?
Yeah. So my great-grandfather and my great-great-grandfather built the Gandy Bridge.
Ah,
cool.
Yeah.
I'll be darned. I didn't know that.
Yeah. 1924, I believe.
Amazing.
Is when they finished it. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. That's a neat heritage.
Yeah. It comes up from time to time. I mean, it's funny now. I mean, this area's grown so much. Not a lot of people know the history of anything. So,
Yeah, true enough.
Yeah.
So how big is the department? How many employees do you have, active officers and support staff?
Sure. We have about 380 total staff. We're authorized to 262 officers currently. And it's been a struggle. After the economic downturn, we attritioned out a lot of folks. So when I started 1991, we had 250 officers. We went up to about 278 at one point in time. And then about 2011, 2012 is when we really, the city as a whole, lost a lot of employees. And we went down to a low of 228.
Wow.
And at that staffing level, you're doing basic function only. So, some of the extra things that we provided for our citizens back then went away. I mean, our community policing as a whole was folded up. Those things that were resource and labor intensive, we had to constrict and just do the basic function. And for years, the police department's been around for over 100 years, and we consider ourselves a full-service law enforcement department for the city and the citizens of Clearwater. And, we're just now, under Chief Slaughter, we got back to a manageable number of personnel to do what's expected of us, particularly with all the growth. I think you guys have noticed it. You can't drive down an access road where once there was a car dealership or a business, there's 400 apartment units. Well, every one of those units is a potential call for service for us.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Yeah. What is a regular day? And probably aren't any regular days, but tell us what happens. You're chief of police. What is a typical day like in your life?
Absent the unexpected phone calls, which are a regular occurrence, it's unpredictable. And that's probably the thing that draws a lot of people to the work. You never know what you're going to get. And I enjoy that. I'm a problem solver. I like that piece of law enforcement. Some are more difficult than others, but I like to start my morning relatively early. I used to come in and we ask our people to do park, walk, and talk activity, get out of your car, walk around. As a deputy chief, I had a lot more flexibility to get out and do that. So I start the day, I'll go out and I'll walk a neighborhood, or I'll deal with some, emails early morning at 5:30 or so when I'm, up, working, having a cup of coffee.
You're in that early.
I don't come in that early, but
I see at home. Yeah.
And then, I'll work out in the morning. Thanks to my wife, she convinced me stop doing it in the afternoon, work out in the morning, and you feel better all day. So I got to give her credit there. But It's a variety of things, but it's usually something has occurred overnight or there's some issue that needs a meeting first thing in the morning. So we have some set meetings with my command staff, with management staff, and I try and get out and communicate with people too. I think that's critically important. And my first 6 months, my goal was to get out and meet with everybody, and I just finished that last week. So that was a challenge, and then the next step is certainly getting out into the community, having those community meetings with our neighborhood associations.
Gotcha. And now, people who aren't watching the show, we are on Facebook and we're on YouTube. But for those who aren't watching the show, Chief Gandy is in his uniform. And tell us what is on your belt. People are always curious about what police officers carry.
Sure. It's 26 pounds of stuff between a vest and everything on your gun belt.
Wow.
But you have your less lethal weapons, tasers, chemical spray, sidearm, handcuffs, radio, gloves, tourniquet, and then ballistic vest, and then the uniform. So it's
What's your sidearm?
It's a Glock 45. It's a 9mm. We transitioned to this a couple years ago. It's been a good transition for accuracy, reliability.
Gotcha.
Do you have to practice?
Oh yeah. So there's a lot of personal responsibility issues in law enforcement, and that's to keep yourself physically fit and make sure you're proficient in the use of your weapons.
So no hanging out at Dunkin' Donuts or anything.
No, listen, I used to laugh. I'm like, I don't know where that came from, other than the coffee aspect of it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know a lot of cops that eat a bunch of donuts, so it's just kind of I'm assuming it's a coffee shop nexus from somewhere.
Okay.
We got tipped off that Slaughter and Mike, the deputy chief, instead of donuts, they like bagels.
Yeah.
So we got a bag of bagels and dropped them off one time. Remember that? So that's pretty cool. Yes, Ed.
I got a couple of questions, actually.
Sure.
With the new influx of people coming to Clearwater with the sound and the park and everything, large crowds and whatever, how is that working out? Are people behaving so far for the most part?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're well versed in managing those types of events. We've had events for decades at the park. The venue just created, I'm going to say, a different venue to hold them in. So the protocols stay the same. We have staffing levels based on the anticipated crowds. Are they serving alcohol or not? Is it in the park only? Is it in the venue only, or is it both? So we have, for lack of a better term, formulas in the can for most of those things. And the same applies with what our medical resources that might be needed. It's very rare that we have significant arrests of any kind out of any of these venues. And I think it's some of the programming too is important to recognize the events that we're bringing to the area.
The other thing is Drew Street is going to be an issue with the election and everything and what they're going to actually do with it. I know the one scenario they're looking at is possibly to set it up to look like what Cleveland Street is now today, with one way each way and the third turn lane, but islands in the middle so people cannot use it as a passing lane. From a first responder's viewpoint, and the fact that if you cut it down to one lane each way, you're not only slowing down traffic, which it should be done, but you're limiting traffic coming in, more importantly, for an emergency to get people off Clearwater or away from Clearwater, you're slowing that down also.
So all city officials, myself included, the political season is tough for us because these are political issues, and
Right.
we try and, stay out of the fray, if you will. From a personal perspective, I must tell everybody that Drew Street was once 2 lanes. They widened it to 4, and I think declared some eminent domain and or purchased property along the stretch between Keene and Highland to widen it to 4 lanes. And I'm assuming at the time it was to increase carrying capacity. Again, it's only an assumption, and I'm assuming there were studies that were done at that point in time. I look at Drew purely from a safety perspective. certainly a head-on collision in narrow lanes at a closing speed of 80 miles an hour is a safety issue.
If you're in the left lanes on each side, at one point, you're inches from door to door.
Yeah, absolutely.
Basically. But here's my thought. If you get, let's finish. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but if the speed limit is 40 in certain areas, they're doing 45. And if they're doing 45, they're doing 50. I would think that my scenario would be anywhere from Keene all the way through downtown is drop everything down to 30 and police it.
Sir, so a couple things. As I recall correctly, that's an FDOT decision on the speed
That's what
limit.
I was told.
And I think they do studies and that there's a formula that they apply to determine whether that it needs to be reduced or not. But don't quote me on that. That's my understanding of it. In terms of enforcement, that's a tough place. We do quite a bit of enforcement out there. It's a tough place because usually you see the cops sitting on the side of the road running radar. There's not a lot of area for us to place our resources to do that. So if you think of that, particularly between Keene and Highland, if you look at it there, it's very challenging for us to place a unit and then a chase car somewhere because you can't park on the shoulder because there's no shoulder. And if you park on one of the side streets, you're blocking ingress, egress for traffic. So it's not an easy place to run traffic details. We do them. We use the traffic team and our community problem response team along with our zone units, but it's challenging because of how it's set up there.
Well, they got me once.
Well, they're
Got me once too, Ed.
well, they're doing their job then.
I
That's good.
was going through the light at Drew Street and the damn thing malfunctioned or something and wasn't yellow long enough. And they were kind enough to just give me a warning, though. I would just think to slow it down because to slow it down, it would not only save money in redoing everything, for crying out loud, but I just hate to see another artery where you need to get to Clearwater shut down. Now we've only got Court Street, and that's it.
Yeah.
Remember what Cleveland Street used to be? That was the street.
Yeah.
That was the street.
Now it's a ghost town.
Yeah.
Yeah. I understand that perspective. I mean, I get it that the other, east-west kind of, it's Sunset Point. So you got to go all the way up to Sunset Point if you want to travel east-west. So it's definitely, it's always been kind of the local secret, if you will, to use Drew Street rather than Gulf to Bay. So it's going to be interesting to see, what this design actually, how it works. I mean, according to FDOT, they've done studies that reveal that it's not going to slow things down significantly and all those things. But that remains to be seen. I just don't know.
Well, one of the issues too is that sometimes things are changed without thinking of safety and security first. And for instance, the traffic calming, where in the neighborhoods like on Cleveland, where they build in those islands. I mean, you got a fire truck, they can't make that turn. They got to run right over it, the side of it. And that slows up response time. So, sometimes they're not putting some of the things as priorities that they should. And one of them is again, the enforcement.
Well, that's one of the thoughts that was first responders' viewpoint.
Yeah.
So I want to ask, is there a pressing crime that needs attention right now?
So I have a survey tool that we use. And of course, traffic is the number one complaint. But from a law enforcement perspective, one of the things that probably drives us crazy is unlocked vehicle burglaries because it's a preventable crime.
It's crazy.
And in particular, the biggest danger is unlocked vehicle burglaries when someone leaves a gun in the car. And it's not uncommon. And, we have these cases that I think 80%, the last time we ran the stats, 80% of vehicle burglaries are unlocked vehicles.
That's something.
Wow.
We've done education campaigns. We've gone in the neighborhoods on foot. We've handed out flyers. We've put it on our social media, and it's common. And it may be as simple as this. Everyone has a key fob in their car now. So they thought they hit the button. It's not an act of you're physically pushing a button down or locking it with a key. It's you're relying on the key fob every time. And did I remember to push the button or not? I don't know. I just find it a pretty shocking number that 80% of our vehicle burglars are unlocked. And
Wow.
these kids know this. So the good thing about most crime patterns, you'll have these unusual situations that are a crime of passion, spur of the moment, those types of things. But with the kids, I told two friends who told two friends that if you go in this neighborhood, you'll find unlocked cars and you'll find cash and credit cards and guns in these cars. So you'll see it's a very small percentage of the population that commits these crimes, but it's a significant piece of the crime puzzle.
You'd think people who would not dare leave their house unlocked don't lock up their cars. Security. I'm paranoid about security.
Yeah.
You have to. We've got cameras. We've got alarm system. We got a pit bull. A couple of handguns.
We caught a crime a couple of years ago.
Yes, we did actually. On our video. It just astounds me, like it does you, that people wouldn't keep their cars locked.
Yeah.
Because it's so simple to just open the door and snatch something in 30 seconds. They're gone.
Yeah. And it's primarily juveniles.
Sure.
And like I said, the gun in the unlocked car is a bigger problem. So now you got a loaded gun in the hand of a kid whose brain's not, baked enough to make a good decision.
Yep.
Right.
That's true.
They don't have the emotional intelligence at those ages to recognize if I pull this trigger, someone's not coming back.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that doesn't happen until 26 in some young males.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So now I understand.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Well, you're far from that.
I know. I'm just kidding. You all have got a new facility going in that's going to be really amazing. That's going to kind of put together all of the controls and things that you can do in terms of license plate recognitions and all of that. Tell us about that facility.
It's been great. It was a concept when I left, and it's still maturing and evolving, but it's amazing. And it's called the Real Time Crime Center, and the real time piece of it is this: they hear a call go out on the radio, and it can save us tremendous time and effort. If it's a crash at this location, they can access a camera and say, it's not at that intersection, it's over here.
Yeah, that's critical in someone's life.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So it's already paid dividends over and over again. It's staffed with some really good crime analysts and sharp people who are forward thinking. And, I think they have done a phenomenal job of predicting and helping the officers in the field. We had a homicide that they were on top of relatively quickly from the beach.
Gotcha.
And we're able to solve that due in large part to the real-time center.
Very, very good. Well, listen, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. We do periodically like to have the Clearwater Police Department here because we think you do a fantastic job. I've lived in the Keys, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Winter Park, Tampa, and I usually get involved in civic things and get to know some of the people. And I think far and away, both the fire and the police departments here are the best. You guys do a great job.
I think so too. What's your contact information for the police department, not your personal cell phone?
Yeah. So our main non-emergency number is 562-4242.
Okay.
And email or website, I should say.
Yep.
My Clearwater.
Yeah. Clearwater Police Department at myclearwater.com.
Okay.
Fantastic.
I just checked that clearwaterpolice.org. Okay.
Okay. Very good. All right, Kel. Well, listen.
All right. Thank you.
It's time to wrap things up and thank our guests.
I'd like to thank Mike Menino. He's running for Clearwater City Council seat 3, and Chief Eric Gandy of Clearwater.
Excuse me, exactly. And I'd like to also thank 3 guys, Jimmy Johnson, Guy Harvey, and Wade Boggs, 3 well-known fellows who do a PR ad for us every day to promote our show. And how about a verse? Do you have a verse for us?
Yes, I do. 1 Corinthians 13:4. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude.
Fantastic. And remember, these are the good old days of tomorrow, or at least we hope so. On behalf of Kelly, Ed Davis, and myself, please join us again next Monday and every Monday at the same time for another rip-roaring Kelly Show.
Kelly Show on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
WTAN, Clearwater.
FM 106.1.
WDCF, Dade City.
FM 102.3.
Listen.